And it is Saturday, and it's 8:13, so I'm late, but 13 is a lucky number for me, so I don't mind that it's 8:13. And my face looks funny and my glasses are annoying me, but I'm here. Today I was thinking to tell you a little bit about the cards I've been making, and I have cards with a aperture in that's oval shaped, and that was what I did yesterday. And I use silk, and this is raw silk, which has a very strong texture. And I had a piece of raw silk that I'd cut from a painting of a rose that I'm making. I'm painting on raw silk, and I did the painting bigger than the aperture that I was fitting it in, so that's the offcut. And this one is one of the recent ones that I've just done, which I've just framed up, and I put little spots on it. Sorry, my left hand has a shake, which is annoying. If I can show you here. Well, the left hand's holding the phone now, so it's still causing trouble. It's not a serious problem in medical terms. It's just what they call a tremulum, which I think is because I had an operation on my elbow once, and I think they damaged the nerve. And this is an oval one, but it came out too big for the frame, so I've ordered some slightly bigger cards. I think it'll still cut quite a lot off. They're not bigger cards, but they've got a bigger aperture. I think it'll still cut quite a lot off, but not as much as others. And this is a rose. The roses take me 3 days to make. I'm working on them a lot at the moment. And they go in a aperture card that looks like this. That's waiting for it. And this is another of a similar ilk, similar roses, where I did a slightly different background, and I really like it. Backgrounds using glass, using wax. My brain is not woken up properly today. So that's the batik type. This one, I used the batik here, the wax here, to protect the red before I put the green on, because otherwise the green will go into the red, and to protect the green before I did the background. So it also, when you drip wax on, it makes a spot. So I've got white spots on that one, and this one, I was using pink silk. Somebody said, "Where did you get the pink silk from?" And I said, "The usual place, like a shop that sells fabric," but it was on special offer. So that's how I came out with the pink silk. And this is another one, waiting to be framed. So those are the silk paintings at the moment. And last night I was going to go busking. I play music on a Friday night, usually a Friday and a Saturday night. And I've got various bills to pay for my business at the moment. And I had a cup of tea, I think, and I thought I'd just lie down because my back was aching, and I fell asleep, so I didn't get to go busking. But what I did get was to wake up in the night, and little worries and things were in my mind because I have got bills to pay, and I had missed my busking, and I was remembering a video I watched with a podcast with Eckhart Tolle, who's one of the luminaries who I really like. And it was a podcast about the law of attraction. And one thing he was saying, hi, Bees. Hi, Bees joined. I'm not going to greet everybody else who joins because otherwise it gets a bit boring. But Bees is the first one today. So I've got painty hands because I was silk painting yesterday. So I was just saying I've just shown some of the paintings that I was doing yesterday, and I'm a silk paint artist, and I normally go busking. I'm also a musician, and I go busking on a Friday night to raise money because I've got a lot of bills coming in for my company. I've joined a new hi Yasmin Arida. I've got some bills because my accounting system was not good last year and I had a problem with it. So I've joined a local accountant, and it's £200 a month on top of all the bills that I've already got that I struggle with. And so I woke up in the night and I couldn't get back to sleep because I was thinking about how am I going to get my business stronger? Am I realistic about thinking I can make my artwork into a business and all these type of things? And then I was remembering Eckhart Tolle was saying the first thing to do when you want to use the law of attraction is feel emotionally you are already in a good place. Otherwise you're reflecting, you're signaling to the universe the lack and the worry. And I just remembered how many good things are going on at the moment. How many cards I have sold. What a blessing it is that I can make them. And what a blessing is that people like them and buy them. And I'm just noticing in the picture, it's hard to remember to look at the camera and not at your face. One of the things that's over my head at the moment is I've lost my denture. So I'm a bit self-conscious about doing the videos because I've got a gap right at the front of the teeth. And in the first ones I was very careful and I held the phone in a way where you didn't notice. But now I just noticed. And the new denture will cost me about £600, so it's not going to happen in a hurry. Anyway, I was remembering what Eckhart Tolle said about feeling the sense of blessedness and gratitude is very, very important when you want to attract anything, when you want to use law of attraction. And the fact that I can paint and I can find people who want to buy my cards is really, really strong and powerful. And I'm also aware that I have a very good friend at the moment who's helping me prepare for my workshops, because I do workshops every month in local, about 2 or 3 miles from here. My field is reducing stress, and my company is Ultimate Stress Solutions. And my workshops are very powerful because we do mindfulness, which is proven to reduce stress. We do forest bathing, which Japanese research discovered was the most powerful way of reducing the stress and relaxing the brain. We do silk painting, which is beautiful, and beauty and creativity is also good at reducing stress. And also it's a very good mindfulness activity because it draws us into the current moment. We're watching what we're doing. Okay, bees are by bees, lovely. You can see the video later. Have a lovely day. And bye. So all these things were on my mind at 3 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep, how to actually focus on and feel gratitude for the blessings I've got, not to be thinking about too much the bills that I want to pay, because if I think of them, I'm projecting lack and need and anxiety. And if I project the gratitudes and they are real, and the blessings and they are real, then I'm going to be attracting more blessings and more gratitudes. So that's the theoretical part of this exercise. And then I thought I will share with you one of my spiritual teacher's poems every day. And the first one I'm going to share is, I had my very first cards printed recently, and this is it. And it says, with love. I don't know if it's the right way around for you or not. And it's got one of my roses. And on the back, I have one of my spiritual teacher's poems. And it is backwards, I think. I see a garden in your face. I see a rose in your heart. I see celestial beauty in your eyes. So that's the poem for today. And also I want to do an exercise with you every day. So I'll start with the one that I've already been talking about on the last few videos, which is a mindfulness exercise using your sense of sight. And first of all, just let me remind you, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is an exercise that everyone can practice. It's proven to rewire your brain in a positive way. And the scientists, to do the proof, they put electrodes on people's heads, and then they measure the activity in the brain while you're practicing mindfulness. And they did an experiment where they measured the brains of the people they were testing. I think it was quite a big study. And then they noticed how the brain was working and what it was like. And then they gave these people a mindfulness exercise, which is just 10 minutes a day. And after 5 days, they put the electrodes back and they measured the brain again. And they found the brain had changed. There's a thing called neuroplasticity, which means at every second of every day and every moment of our lives, our brain is gaining cells and losing cells. It loses cells that aren't being used, and it gains cells that are needed for something that's being done that's needing more cells for. And also it gains connections and it loses connections. And when you have a thought, it's like an electrical pulse that runs like a river through your brain, or like a road. It runs along the little roads of the different nerve cells in your brain. And if it's a thought you think a lot, then the road or the river gets bigger and wider. And if it's a thought that you don't use very much, then it shrinks and eventually just evaporates and disappears. There's no road there anymore. So those thoughts don't come back. And what they found after a week of doing mindfulness, sorry, I've got a frog in my throat and an itchy nose. Get rid of the frog. I should have brought a drink, really. But what they found after doing a week of mindfulness, just 10 minutes a day, was the neocortex, which is the frontal part of your brain where all the higher level calculations and the command center is. That part of the brain had become denser, more cells, more connections. And the amygdala, which is the part that deals with stress, had reduced in size and become less dense, showing that just within 5 days of practice, the level of stress in your life had gone down to an extent that the amygdala didn't need to be so busy. So this is real. This is real. I mean, some people say, why do you want to teach mindfulness to people in Gaza? Isn't that a bit cruel? Because the level of stress in Gaza is beyond anything we can imagine. And the people of Gaza are already famous for being resilient. But it's the one thing that I can do which may help. And the inspiration to teach Gaza people mindfulness came when I checked in, as I try to do every day, with what's going on in Gaza. And two brothers, 8-year-old and 10-year-old, had gone to bed holding on to each other. It was quite earlier in the war, and I think before all the houses had been destroyed, but I don't know if they were in a house or in a tent. But they went to bed in the same bed, and during the night some bombing began nearby, and they were clinging to each other. And in the morning they both died from fear. And if their family had known mindfulness exercises, as soon as the noise of the strikes had started, they could have got together and said, which exercise shall we do now? And which exercise shall we do now? And they could have focused and used mindfulness. Of course, there have been scary moments when they stopped and they had to bring their attention back, but they would not have been dead because they wouldn't have been consumed by absolute terror to such a degree. And that was what inspired me, and I thought I really need to actually teach some of this stuff and somehow get it into Gaza, get it with Arabic subtitles. So with that preamble, Here is my exercise for today. First thing is to remember what is mindfulness. It's a practice everyone can use. And it's like a bird with two wings, and the first wing is to bring your mind, bring your focus, bring your thoughts, bring your attention here and now to this moment. And notice where you are, what you're doing, what you're feeling, and what you're thinking. And the second wing of the mindfulness bird is to be aware of the attitude you've got to what you're seeing of yourself, to what you're noticing about what it's like being me here and now, just at this moment. And that attitude is kindly, compassionate, self-giving, self-loving, and no criticism or judgment at all. No criticism and judgment. You've got a kind of curious attitude which is almost scientific, so you're really paying attention. And you can have a playful attitude, but no criticism, no judgment. And when you notice little critical thoughts coming into your mind or critical voices chattering away in the background, you can just smile at them. And I've got a friend who says, tell them the chocolate chip cookies are out the back and open the door so that they'll go out. Don't try and fight them because that'll just make them stronger. Don't pay any attention to them. Just bring your attention back to here and now. And one of the ways you can do that is by using your senses. And we're going to use the sense of sight. So I always also say that the little bird, the mindfulness bird, has a habit of sitting still, sitting on its nest or maybe perched on a tree. And that's what it's like when we practice mindfulness, when we take time out in the day and maybe sit or even lie down. You can do it standing up as well, but I like sitting because it's more comfortable and it's not so, you're not so likely to fall asleep, because if you really relax when you're lying down and you're tired, it's quite easy to fall asleep, which is not using scientifically alert curiosity at all. So you sit down, ideally you sit with your back up, straight back. I'm sitting on my bed, which is not the ideal place, but I'll just see if I can sit up a bit better. Imagine there's a thread from your head lifting your head and your spine up towards the ceiling. And you want to be relaxed, comfortable, but not too comfortable that you're going to be finding it hard to concentrate. And I always like to have a bit of a stretch to start with, because I'm going to be asking my body to be still. Can't stretch much with the sitting in bed, but have a bit of a stretch so that your body feels that you've taken notice of it and it's not got to distract you too much. So then you're ready to start. And I always like to start by noticing my body, noticing its physical strength and solidness. If you've got your hands resting on your lap, you can notice the way that the warmth of your hands is felt by your leg. If you've got one leg crossed against the other, notice the warmth and the solidness of your body. And then I like to take my attention to my breath. Put your hand on your tummy and use your belly, breathing right from your diaphragm, making your breath a little bit slower than usual, a little bit more gentle, a little deeper. If you do that on its own for a few minutes, you'll find your stress level is likely to reduce. And then we're doing the exercise of sight. So you look around where you are and you notice things. Notice the light What sort of light is it? Is it sunny? If you're close to nature, as you would be in a tent in Gaza, is it raining or windy? Here in my bedroom I can't hear any noise or sound of wind, but the sun is coming through one of the windows. Notice, are there any signs of nature? And for me, because I knew I was going to do this, I brought, where did I put it, I don't know, I brought a little vase in. Ooh, did I put it on the windowsill? Maybe I didn't. I was meaning to bring a little vase in next time. So notice if there's any nature around, and then you can notice colours. I've got a lot of colours beside me because of the cards I wanted to show you. And then I've got bits of card making that I haven't put away from on the bed. I've got here's the cards, then there's the bits of card making things. I've got my blue and white kaffir at the bottom of the bed. I've got my spiritual teacher's picture, and you can see a little bit of the sun coming through. And on the wall I'm planning out a course that I'm doing to put online. Then of course I've got my red cardigan knitted by my mother-in-law, one of my most favourite pieces of clothing. I got a green sari on today, one of my favourite ones. The purple behind me. So what colours can you see? Just look around and notice. Notice the shapes. Have you got any right angles? I have with the cards and the end of the bed. The door. The frames I've got for my course tracking, my spiritual teacher's photograph, the windows, the drawers, lots of right angles. Any circles? Then you can think about what are things made of. Is there anything made of fabric? Anything made of paper? Anything made of wood? My bed, the cabinet, the door. Anything made of metal? I've got a little electric radiator and the pen. Why, the pen is probably plastic. Anything plastic? Anything stone? If you're in Gaza outside, I would guess that there's a lot of stone and concrete and rubble. Hopefully a few little green sprouts coming here and there, where the nature and the plant life is showing that it has the more power than nature, than the human destruction. And then when you decide it's time to finish the exercise, I like to rub my hands together. Well, first of all, I like to take my attention back to my breath. Notice the inhale and the exhale. Notice the solidness and warmth of your body. You can start to stretch, wriggle your fingers. Just have a few stretches, stretch your toes, stretch your legs. And then I like to rub my hands together, and I don't think I can do that very easily on here because of holding the phone, but there. I like to rub my hands together to create a bit of heat from friction, and then just place my hands against my face and consciously feel that sense of love, self-love, and gratitude. Gratitude for the universe. Why should anything exist rather than nothing? I was a religious education teacher for 30 years, so that was a question I used to always start with my classes. Why should there be anything rather than nothing? Why should there be a universe? So gratitude for the universe and the mystery behind it. Many people call God or Allah the source of creation, and many people believe the indweller of creation. Not just a source that's stepped back, but a force which is here and now with us, wherever we may be. So gratitude for that, and gratitude for having a planet where human beings can evolve, and gratitude for all the other creatures who've evolved around us, and gratitude for the sun and the moon and the stars, and gratitude for all the beauty of nature, and gratitude for the oxygen we breathe, and gratitude for the rain that nourishes everything and brings life. There is no end to our gratitudes. And one of my favourite gratitudes is from a Palestinian journalist who said, "Every morning I wake up with massive gratitude because I'm still alive and I still have all my limbs." And in Palestine, in Gaza, that is not something that you can depend on. So it's a big blessing, and it wakes you up to realize that every day is precious. And we can't control everything that's going on in the world, but we can control our thoughts and our activities to a certain degree and make them as strong and as positive as possible, so that we share with each other good energy, positive energy, joyful energy, and lift the world, because the world is a reflection of us. So if we're happy and strong and peaceful, and we share that with each other, the whole world is lifted just a little bit. And on that note, I will end this rather long morning live. Sending my love to all of you. Take care and blessings. And I will try and forward this to Yasmina Ryder. Thank you for staying with me all this time, Yasmina. And to Biz Abiz, who also came here. Bye.